Paul Hodkinson puts his World Boxing Council featherweight title on the line for the 4th time. Last time out, he was magnificent against Ricardo Cepeda. Hodkinson controlled the fight from start to finish. The Puerto Rican blown away in 4 rounds. In just a few minutes' time at the National Stadium across in Dublin, Hodkinson faces Gregorio Vargas, tough, ambitious and very talented Mexican. Vargas has successfully defended the Mexican featherweight title 7 times, and he is a very lively opponent. Hello, good evening to you all. Paul Hodkinson really never involved in a dull fight. At 27, he's got to be close to his boxing prime, and if he does a job on Vargas tonight, we've got to recognise him as just about the best pound-for-pound fighter in the world today, right up in the top bracket. It could just be the best fight of the year. With me, delighted to welcome Barry McGuigan, of course, a former world featherweight champion. Barry, lovely to have you with us, and we'll talk a little bit later on. First of all, let me give you the details from a dramatic match at Wembley, England-Holland. England 2 up through a great free kick from John Barnes early on, and then one from David Platt. Bergkamp pulling one back for Holland before half-time, and the Dutch getting an equaliser with a late penalty from Van Vossen. 2-2 then, the result at Wembley, and we'll have reaction from Wembley a bit later on. And just after the world title fight, we stay in Dublin for World Cup football from the fair city. We'll see the Republic of Ireland invincible at home against Denmark, the European champions. Poland are England's next opponents, and we'll see a surprising and controversial match against San Marino. Alan Rothenberg, Mr. World Cup 94, he talks about sporting hooliganism in the USA. Lou Macari's taken Stoke City up, and we'll see how they clinch the championship. And following England's magnificent victory in the World Sevens at Murrayfield, we have the best action from tonight's London Floodlit Sevens. All that, of course, after our boxing action live from Dublin. Let's have a word with Barry before we cross over to Reg Guttridge and to Jim Watt. Now, Barry, this one could be a very, very tough night for Paul Hodkinson.
Certainly is. This guy's come with tremendous credentials. You know, Mexican fighters at the best of times are in a calibre of their own, but this guy has only been beaten 3 times, and he really is a special fighter, it would appear. Perhaps the sort of guy that Hodkinson might have just liked to avoid. Well, yeah, I think this is a mandatory defence, so he has to fight him, and I'm sure they wouldn't have wanted to take in this match if they could have got away with it, because this guy is really, really tough.
He's a great crowd pleaser, isn't he, Paul Hodkinson? I think he admits he based himself on your style, yeah. And I know you've got terrific admiration for the way he goes about his business. He's a fabulous little fighter. He's all action. He's my type of fighter. He's attractive. He comes forward. He throws punches. He's exciting. He puts bums on seats, and he's Mr. Excitement. And of course, I mean, he is one of these fighters. He's a great champion, isn't he? And he's a great fighter because he wants to pit himself against the best that there is around. Certainly, he's got one of the best around here as a challenger, and he really has got to stay on the outside with this guy. The way to fight this fella, he's got to get off first. He's got to make himself as mobile as possible, especially in the initial part of the fight. Stay on the outside and get off quick-fire combinations and not start knuckling down and punching hard until the fight is into the second half. We just had a little look at Vargas over there in Dublin. I mean, it's his first fight out of Mexico, but he's fought in 1 or 2 fighters' backyards in his home city. He won't be fazed by fighting in Dublin at all. That won't bother him in the slightest. I'm sure he's come up against partisan crowds against him in the past, so this won't even flinch him. I'm sure that he'll just, this is a special occasion for him to fight for a world title, so he'll want to be as on the ball as possible, and I'm sure he's prepared himself adequately for the night. And we're seeing Hocko coming out now, of course a big Liverpool fan with the red and white band around his head. What sort of reaction is he going to get in Dublin? Because he's had quite a few fights in Belfast and quite a few in England, never too many in Dublin. Well, he's had a lot of fights in Belfast, he's trained in Belfast, so he's a fairly local fighter, so I'm sure the spillover from the crowd who were at the football game earlier on will come along and give him their wholehearted support. The Irish crowds are absolutely incredible. I'm sure we're going to have millions looking forward to seeing how he is going to perform here tonight, but he hasn't really had the glamour of a Ben, a Eubank or a Bruno, but really his performances in the ring deserve that sort of attention. Well, he does his talking in the ring, and that's the great thing about him. He's exciting.
he comes forward, he puts, as I say, he puts great combination punches together. He fights like an American, like a South American, and he's always attractive to watch, and I'm sure he's going to be enjoyable to commentate on tonight.
I know his manager Barney Eastwood there has gone on record as saying he's very uneasy about this whole fight. Are you a bit uneasy about it as well, Barry?
Well, I mean, you have to look at this guy's record and say he's every right to be uneasy. This guy is an exceptional challenger, and he's going to provide him with, I'm sure, a tough task. How good he actually is, we have to wait and see. So ask me after the first couple of rounds and I'll let you know.
Of course we will, Barry. We'll hear from you during the fight. Your commentators are going to be Jim Watt and Reg Guttridge. First of all, we hear from the Master of Ceremonies in Dublin, and that's Tony Baker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the big fight live on ITV. On the 30th anniversary of the World Boxing Council, Eastwood Promotions, in association with Frank Warren and their sponsors, the Daily Mirror newspaper, are proud to present the WBC Featherweight Championship of the World, a match made at 9 stone over 12 3-minute rounds of boxing. Between and introducing to you, in the red corner, the challenger, with a record of 27 wins, 3 losses, 1 draw, and 18 KOs. He is the current Mexican featherweight champion, the challenger, Gregorio Vargas. And boxing out of the blue corner, from Liverpool, out of Belfast, with a record of 22 wins, 1 defeat, 1 draw, 21 KOs, he is the current featherweight champion of the world, Paul Hodkinson. At the weigh-in, Vargas scale, 8 stone, 13 3/4 pounds. Hodkinson scale, 8 stone, 13 1/4 pounds. Your officials for this contest, appointed by the World Boxing Council, are as follows. At ringside, your supervisor, the President, Jose Solomon. Your referee, from the United States of America, officiating in his 107th world title contest, the legendary Arthur McEntee. Your judges at ringside, from the United States of America, Mr. Tony Castellano. From Italy, Giuseppe Ferrari. From Egypt, Kamal Youssef. Your timekeeper is Mr. Dale Elliott. 12 rounds of boxing for the Featherweight Championship of the World. Thank you.
Well, pull up a good ringside seat with us here, because it really does have the makings of a cracking fight. First time in this country for the Mexican, and you'll probably hear Arthur McEntee, great referee, handle a couple of Jim Watt's fights, the first and last of the World Championship fights he had. And his son's also a referee now, mostly in the Madison Square Garden. And he may just give him the final rundown in the centre of the ring. He usually does, and we'll probably hear what he's having to say. What a fit man he is. He says he's 68, but sometimes even like Archie Moore and a few others, they steal a few years off their age. So he's, I imagine it's a praying position there. He's been there quite a while, actually, Vargas. But people who know the fight game tell me that this fella knows how to fight. Well, we'll see what it's like when he gets away from home.
Good evening, gentlemen. You both know the rules of the World Boxing Council. You were instructed yesterday with the rules. We expect you to obey these rules, and I'll enforce them. Now, shake hands now. Good luck to both of you. Return to your corner to await the starting bell. Good luck.
Well, there you are. Straight from the horse's mouth, as they say. So now, very popular little fighter, Hoko, isn't he? Got a great Liverpool fans here. Now he's just got that natural fighting instinct that he's tempering a bit now with professional care as he goes along in his career now. His 25th fight coming up. And he spent an hour or two in the dressing room now with this new technique of anointment and ice around the face for quite a while, which he's had advice from an American sports injuries specialist. He says it might help to keep any swellings down. It's the only time that he's lost against Villasana through very bad swelling to the face in Manchester. And this is a mandatory defence, although Kevin Kelly of New York, who was over here and interviewed when Hodkinson had his last fight at the Olympia.
Right, just a right hand right on Hodkinson's jaw, that was a good one.
Yeah, he didn't mess about it, he got it off quick. He threatened to sue the World Boxing Council, this Mexican, if he didn't get his shot, because he said he had a contract to fight Villasana when Hodkinson took the championship away. And there are more writs sometimes than rights in what I now call the fight game.
This fellow Vargas, Reggie's got the look of being a good fighter. The way he came into the ring, he was totally relaxed, and you can see the way he's moving around. He really feels he's a top quality fighter, and he certainly looks like one.
He won a little bit of applause, did a huge sombrero. He came in and immediately threw it to the crowd. First world title fight in Dublin without an Irishman being involved.
He's catching Hodkinson cleanly straight away. Good right hands and good left hooks. Already Hodkinson's face is changing colour.
Tall too for a featherweight, Gemini Mexican. Bit of a low punch, and quite rightly Arthur McCanty reminding him, behave yourself.
It's that confident look he has about him that would worry me, Reggie. He really looks as though he feels he should be world champion. Very cool, never in any hurry, letting good shots go already.
Yeah, a little bit of, well, I would say, fury in the eyes and a bit of potency in the punches by the look of it. He won't be denied, Hodkinson. All wearing the fans and him wearing a headband with Hoko on, sort of the Julio Cesar Chavez style. He's the British version of the great world champion Chavez.
Hodkinson raising the pace, that's what he's got to do. He can't let this fellow settle. Has to set the pace and set a hot pace.
This fight oozes class to him, doesn't it?
We always reckoned this was going to be a cracker, Reggie, and it started that way. So look at the way Vargas picks the shots behind the elbow. Good solid jab he throws.
Half a minute to go.
This is going to be a cracker, Reg.
Hodkinson's going to meet him punch for punch, that's for sure. And he's got to. He's going to be forced to fight this fellow. He can't lay off at all.
Hodkinson's got to set the pace. He can't let this fellow box at his own pace. He's too smart and too cute. Puts them together well. Hodkinson's got to rise above, set the pace.
They're those headbands I was telling you about. That's trainer Bernardo Checa, Romanian, who works out of Belfast. There's in the black there's Ernie Fozzi. In case there's any cuts, he deals with them. Now then, this is Vargas giving this replay looking pretty good. There it is, that right hand that you spotted early on there.
That was in the first seconds of the fight, and it was a beauty. See, he seems to have total confidence. Good left hand work, good jabbing. Doesn't move around too much. Hodkinson came back with some good shots as the round wore on. He raised the pace, but you could see straight away in the first round the quality of Vargas's punches. Cool, calm, everything under control. Dangerous opponent.
Yeah, it's one that Barney Eastwood, the manager of Hodkinson, wouldn't mind avoiding. But there you are. If you're champion, as Hodkinson says, there he is again. I've never seen anybody do that before.
Round two.
And before the fight. Second round then. Of course scheduled for 12, World Boxing Council. Oh, how about that, Jim? He's getting those off a bit lively now, Hodkinson. He realises this fellow's a little bit, I think in professional terms, tasty.
Yeah, I think Hodkinson been told to raise the pace, Reg. You can't stay away from this fellow. He has to punch all the time. As soon as he's in range, he's got to let the punches go. In the first round, Hodkinson was moving into range without punching. He can't afford to do that. He has to punch as he moves in.
Virtually born into the game, actually. Goyo, as he's called, Vargas. His father was a pro. Fought the world champion, Danny Lopez.
a little bit more head movement from Hodkinson's needed as well. He doesn't want to march straight forward. This fella has a good jab. Little slip and slide, bob and weave as he comes forward. So look at the jab, look how accurate this fella's jab is.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Jim, it's more than point scoring. It looks as though it's a hurtful jab.
Good solid shot. Hodkinson has to move his head more from side to side and let punches go as he moves forward. See, he's trying to edge his way in before he throws, and he's been caught as he comes forward.
Just that right hand over the top of the left lead there is going to work on that, Hodkinson. Good shots indeed by the world champion.
See, the good thing about Hodkinson, Reg, he really can fight. He's not one of the kind of paper champions that we see around in the game today. He really can fight, and he's going to have to here.
Into a good rhythm. You're right, he's taken a few shots, but that's what the game's all about, Hodkinson, that he's letting some punches go of his own there.
Vargas doesn't back up too much, does he? Hodkinson's caught him with good shots, but he doesn't back up, stands his ground, comes back.
He just bided his time cleverly there, as I was saying. He's just got that professional's care now a bit. Hodkinson, he's a little bit wild early in his career, but he's tempering it well now. Fourth defence of the World Championship. And a prestigious one too, the World Boxing Council. 30 years old now, co-founded by Britain's Board of Control actually, and the president, Jose Suleiman, is here tonight. And he, of course, comes from Mexico and runs most of the WBC business in Mexico. Jim?
Well, Hodkinson got his show on the road, certainly in the second round there. He has to get respect from this fellow, and he set about doing that. Hodkinson's was a stronger punching in the second round. Not a lot to separate them, but Hodkinson certainly, his punches carried the more power. He's got himself coming forward, and it certainly is some good work from Hodkinson. He raised the pace and maintained that pace. Good round for both, but particularly Hodkinson.
Well, it doesn't have to liven up. It's already lively, this one. Fellow working in the corner there, Jim, Warner McGowan looking in and got a bloody nose. Joe Medell, who defeated Warner McGowan in London, one of the great Mexican fighters. Third round. Mexicans a little bit of a class above Hodkinson's last challenger, Jim, Cepeda.
Vargas has that kind of casual, confident look. I don't think he likes working at the same pace as Hodkinson does, and I think that could be what would carry Hodkinson to victory, if he can set a higher pace and just take some of the smoothness out of this fella's boxing. He's smooth and he's slick, so you don't want him to box at his own pace.
He's certainly a bit useful at home, made 7 defences of the Mexican Championship. Been fighting since he was got a little bit of a sneaky one on the break. He doesn't stand for much nonsense, referee McCanty.
So wicked left hook, Vargas is thrown to the body as well.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a bit of advantage in reach too.
That's some quality in Vargas' boxing again, Reg. He's got his act back together.
Second time he's saying Arthur McCanty there, caution. It'll take a point away from him. So a minute to go in the third.
As we said, Reg, this could wind up the fight of the year. Two real quality fighters. Not a clinch, not a break, not a break in the action.
Hodkinson's corner saying, move your head and jab.
Hodkinson's maturity might also be the difference here. When he really raises the pace, he usually has the last word. When the pace drops slightly, Vargas looks the better fighter. But as soon as Hodkinson raises it, he takes over. Takes the punch as well, Reg. He's answered that question as well. That was a cracker from Hodkinson. Took it without a flinch.
So how does Barry McGregor weigh this up so far?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's in a really hell of a fight there. Shades of Salvador Sanchez about this Mexican kid. He has got lots of speed and he's got a bit of style there, and he takes a bit of a shot too. He took a couple of good right-handers in the second round. He took a good shot at the end of that round. Hodkinson, what can I say, he just got to try and be a bit more mobile with his upper body. After he delivers his punches, he's just got to recover a bit quicker. But that's a hell of a cracking contest. Fantastic fight.
Well, there you are. You've got a comfortable seat now, Barry, at the other end, and maybe you're better off. One of your haunts, of course, winning in Dublin, defending your championship at the same weight as this. Pop goes the gum shield, the only protection allowed above the waist for boxers. And just obviously keeping that ice, and not because he is swelling, but to try and keep it down should it happen. Keep the ice on the forehead like that. Round 4. Paul Hodkinson, Oko, Gregorio Vargas, or Goya from Mexico. The 9-stone, 57 kilos, WBC featherweight championship of the world.
Vargas just waving the left jab here as though he's looking for the right hand. Yeah, there it goes. Missed with it.
Looks as though he's got a bit of patience, Jim, the Mexican, doesn't he?
Yeah, see, he wants to calm the pace down. And this is his way of doing that. He has that kind of casual look about him, just moves around nice and slowly. This is his way of trying to bring the pace down where he can bring out the smooth combinations. But Hodkinson mustn't allow that to happen. He must set the pace here.
Vargas is picking him off pretty good at long range, though.
A couple of times up close there. Vargas is the one who's wanted to clinch. So that's a sign Hodkinson wants to keep it close range.
Midway through the 4th round.
I like Hodkinson more in this round, Reg. He's the more positive of the two here.
Yeah, he's imposing his will all the time, isn't he? He does that, Hodkinson. He sort of wars of attrition. He wears opponents down. And we can put those hooked punches of his in Hodkinson. Well, he'd like to find the odd equalizer, they used to call it, but it'll take some knocking over this fella, because his 3 fights were all very early in the learning stage of his career. Started as a flyweight at 6 years old.
Hodkinson backing him up well here. That's what he has to do, keep this fella on his back foot. Yeah, this is a good run from Hodkinson. He's having to take punches as he comes forward, but he's landing more.
He likes to play the intimidator, really, doesn't he, Hodkinson? Good round for him there. So I wonder what they're saying over there in Hoko's corner now.
Deep breath. Brilliant. Sam, while he's going backwards, he can't do stuff.
Listen, he's coming with the left hook to the body. Block it and left hook. Okay, come back. Okay, very close. Come on, drink. Come on, close.
Okay. Give him a drink now.
Drink it now, drink it. Spit it out.
Paul, you must keep sticking out that jab. And you must watch for the uppercut. The uppercut coming. Try and block it.
You gotta keep working at him.
And you must throw 3 and 4 punches at a time.
3 or 4 punches. 3 or 4 punches. Don't let him fucking work you.
Yeah. Come on, put it on him now.
Well, he can remember that. All of that is going to be okay, isn't it, in this fight? Well, there you go. That's what goes on in the corners. It's a tough business. An old line about this is where they sort them in from the boys at this level. Round 5. Very much a genuine #1 challenger, isn't he, this fellow Vargas? And it's such an important fight now for Hodkinson because there's a carrot of $1 million being dangled by Madison Square Garden for him to retain this championship and fight Kevin Kelly, the American, at the Garden, which is still very much a mecca of boxing in America. Right now, strange enough, Dennis, the money doesn't come into it now. It's all about pride and the determination where Hodgkins is concerned. That's what you fellas think of at this stage, isn't it?
Yeah, you've got to want to be in there in the first place. Money makes you go in, but once you get in there, it doesn't keep you motivated. But Hodkinson turned the fight in his own favour in the previous round. Now and again, Vargas is a little bit too casual and he's getting caught with punches. It looks as though he should be a little bit more alert. But just as I'm saying that, he's coming back with good shots. Now and again, it just seems too casual in his approach, and Hodkinson takes advantage of that. See, Hodkinson's making him fight. Vargas has to come back with punches now.
Watching a fight like this, Jim, you can think of some heavyweight fights that are like a couple of statues sparring, aren't they, compared with this?
The thing too is every punch that comes is a quality punch. There's no clinching, no illegal head work. The fight's got everything, two real quality fighters.
Midway through the 5th round of this WBC Featherweight Championship of the World.
Vargas has an excellent jab range, and now and again he just finds the range and keeps Hodkinson at long range. And it's a stiff jab he throws too.
Certainly hasn't frozen fighting away from home, Jim, is he, the challenger?
Well, when he came into the ring, Reggie, straight away had that air of someone who thought they were a good fighter, and he certainly proved that he is a good fighter. He's got total confidence in it. I don't think he cares where he boxes. It's a real good jab he has. I think the problem's going to be, as the pace slows down, Hodkinson's going to be caught with that jab a lot.
Coming into the last half minute of this round.
Well, good pressure from Hodkinson in this round, but a lot of quality punches coming from Vargas.
Hodkinson trying to become the hero of the night and certainly the hero of the afternoon in many ways. It's Jack Charlton, of course, with the Irish team, who's at ringside now, a bit of a fight fan, and we'll see what he thinks of this with Gary Newman.
Well, Jack, you used to tackle a lot, but I mean, this is real hard man's area, isn't it?
It's a tremendous fight. I mean, they're well matched, and who can pick a winner out of a fight like this? It's terrific. They're hitting each other with everything they got, and they're standing up and taking it. I'm glad I was a footballer, not a boxer. Oh dear.
It's the first time your wife has been to a fight. What's she making of it?
She's not. I imagine she would put her head in her hands and be going, oh, you know, but she's not. She's actually discussing the good punches and the bad punches with me.
She's teaching you a bit about it, is she?
No, she's not. She has to watch it at home, you see, on the telly. She gets no choice. Because that's compulsive viewing for me, boxing.
Hodkinson's going to have his work cut out here, isn't it? It's quite a fight.
Yeah, they both got it. They can both take a good shot and they can both give one. And the Mexican lad's very strong. Very strong.
Round 6.
So out for round 6 then. And the pattern won't change, Jim. I mean, the styles are set here now, aren't they? And it's just a question now of whether Hodkinson can keep up that little step in gear all the time. He's capable of doing that. He's a good stand.
See, I'm just worried that when the pace slows a little bit, Vargas's jab could give Hodkinson some problems when, as I say, when it slows and he's not getting into range quite as quickly, he could be catching some of those long jabs in the way in. And it's a good solid jab that Vargas throws. Kind of looping right hand he throws, but it's a good jab and a good left hook he has.
Should it go 12 rounds? Referee doesn't vote. And Tony Castellano of New York, Kamal Youssef of Egypt, unusual one that. And Giuseppe Ferrari of Italy would be the judges.
Vargas making a little bit more use of the ring now. He's not too worried now about backing off and trying to leave Hodkinson's punches short. In the first couple of rounds he stood his ground, but now he's a bit more mobile. Not a bad idea for him. So Hodkinson has to get close. He's too far away. He's got to cut the range in this fellow.
He's trying to cut the ring size down a bit on them, and this is a huge ring. It's about 22 foot inside. Some of them 18 is the minimum, and this often happens, but they've got a long way to chase each other here. With a bit of luck, Jim, I don't want to stick my chin out, and I'm sure Hodkinson doesn't. His face that he suffered with Villasana, which is, you know, always remembered by people for such a sad finish, is standing up pretty well to this one.
Yeah, well, it was mad red from the first round, but thankfully it hasn't got a lot worse. A little bit of swelling all over the face, but you've got to expect that the way Hodkinson fights. But he's not quite so imposing in this round. He stood off a little bit more, still marching forward, but not going right into punching range.
Been a pro since the Bruno Witherspoon night at Wembley. That was his first pro fight, and what a good all-action fighter he's proved to be.
Well, they've both landed their best shots. No signs of anybody going to wilt under the punches. I don't know if it's going to go all the way, but it looks like it's going to be a long fight now.
Well, it's coming up really to the halfway stage, Jim. How have you got it?
Had Hodkinson one round in front. That round took a long time to get started, but some good work in the last minute. Still maybe Hodkinson just won the one round in front at the moment.
Pleased with himself there, Vargas, wasn't it? Acknowledging the crowd. I mean, they technically should be neutral, but obviously they're going to root for Hodkinson. There's quite a contingent in from Liverpool. But a real quality fighter, this. And as I say, Joe Medell, crafty old fighter in his corner there. His last fight was in October, and he went to the 11th round, and he won that. Been 12 rounds 3 times. Jim, near the end of the round we're watching here.
See, Hodkinson's best work appeared in the last minute of the round, which is a good sign. The fact that he's got the strength in the last minute of the round, that's when the strong fighters really go to work with some good shots at the end of the round.
10 seconds.
Maybe cancelling out a lot of Vargas's early work.
Seconds out. Round 7.
Round 7. And in case you're late joining us, no knockdown so far, but a really good world championship this one. Paul Hodkinson in red, and in the Mexican colours there, Gregorio Vargas, 22 years old, Hodkinson 27. Well, the weight's only a quarter of a pound. They're both just inside the 9-stone limit. It looks though Hodkinson trying to get his left jab at work now.
Yeah, see, he doesn't want to move in without punching. He can be picked off by Vargas's jab. Sometimes he tries to bob and weave it on the way in without punching. That's when he gets caught. He has to either go in behind the jab, bob and weave it, and let 3 and 4 hooks go.
Good quality fight, Jim, for a referee to handle too. He hasn't had too much to do, and what he has done, he's done efficiently, of course. Very little clinching.
Hardly been a clinch, but good left hand work again from Vargas. The jab, the hook. Hodkinson's taken some shots in the way in, Reg.
Yeah, he is.
Good clean shots too. His aren't landing quite so cleanly.
Nosebleed too on that one. Midway through the 7th.
These are tremendous punches that Vargas is landing here, Reg. Hodkinson exerting the pressure, but he's been caught very cleanly as he's coming in.
It's really tigerish looking now, the Mexican.
He's actually gained...
Good round. He's nailed Hodkinson with the right hand there.
See, that's the first time he's come off best in an exchange, Reg. This is bad news for Hodkinson. He's staggered.
He's fighting just from heart now. He's in bother here, Hodkinson, in the 7th round with under a minute left. Oh dear, and his referee shoving him to a neutral corner, farthest neutral corner to take up the count, taking it up at 5. Giving him plenty of time there. Must have been an 8 count, but he didn't take up the full count there. Oh, he's done him with an uppercut. I think it's going to be all over here. No, they're in the ring. The referee stops it after the towel was thrown in. Well, coming into this fight, we knew that Vargas was going to be a dangerous challenger, and now he's turned out to be, well, more than dangerous, but dynamic with it as well. About 2 minutes 30 into the 7th round. And one of the most exciting boxers in the British fight game, Paul Hodkinson there. We thought was about a round in front probably in the 6th round, Jim, and then he walked bang into trouble.
Well, probably the fighter who least deserves in Britain to lose his world championship, and he loses it. But what a tremendous man he's lost it to. That was the first time that Vargas come out best in an exchange of punches. He saw his chance and he sees it with both hands, and the quality punches he was catching Hodkinson with. The damage was all done before this. Hodkinson kept coming forward when maybe he should have maybe covered up and tried to slip and block some of the punches. By that time, the damage had been done in the initial exchange. Tremendous punch. Every punch from Vargas was perfect and bang on target. This was him just finishing the job now.
Yeah.
As I say, the damage had been done long before now. No way can anybody stand up to so many clean shots, bang on target.
A lot of compassion there quickly from Hodkinson's corner. Bernardo Checo was in the ring while the referee was still deciding whether he was going to stop it. He wanted to give Hodkinson every chance, obviously, but then the towel came in. But at the same time, McCanty was in because he could see the way that Hodkinson slumped on the floor. They're almost shaking the ring with his fall there, right above us in the commentary position. So the Mexican flag waving, obviously.
Paul Hodkinson's corner retires him, the new featherweight champion of the world, Gregorio Vargas of Mexico.
And there's the WBC president in the corner there, and young Stephen Eastwood from the promotion, being sporting enough to congratulate the winner, Mel Christie of the Irish Boxing Board of Control. And that's the belt then that's, well, sadly for Hodkinson, has gone back to Mexico, and he's looking pretty confident there, Mr. Soleimani. That's why I insisted on this fight going ahead. The mandatory challenger has won the fight.
Well, very sporting as always between the fighters there. We told you Vargas was very useful, and what an excellent performance he put up there. We'll be going back to Dublin, of course, to get all the post-fight reaction. I'll be chatting to Barry McGuigan as well to get his considered opinion of the fight. We've got World Cup football, rugby union coming up as well, and that's all after this break. Welcome back. Paul Hodkinson has lost his WBC featherweight title. Paul Hodkinson stopped in the 7th round by Gregorio Vargas from Mexico. But Hoko has recovered, I'm delighted to say, and he's well enough to talk at ringside now to Gary Newbon.
Paul, the judges, all three of them, had you 3 rounds in front when you came into that round.
I think I was ahead, like, but I don't know, there's not any excuses, you know. Vargas done the job, like, but I don't know, even from the first round, I just didn't feel me 100%, you know. I don't know what was wrong, but, you know, take me out of the Vargas, he done what he had to do, but, you know, that wasn't Paul Hodkinson there tonight.
Why not?
I don't know, I don't know what's wrong, you know. It wasn't 100% me tonight. I'm taking nothing away from Vargas, he come here and done what he had to do, but, you know, I don't know, there was something missing tonight from me, and I just don't know what it is.
You can't afford to do that if that is the correct situation at this level.
You don't know, do you, until you get in the ring, so...
Yeah. But the fact is you were winning. I mean, he was a really tough opponent who could really punch, but you were winning so clearly on the judges' card until you came to the end. Let's have a look at the end here, Paul. And I mean, why did it suddenly go wrong?
I don't know. I'd say he was very strong, you know, and he was catching me feet. I don't know, it just wasn't... Taking on away from Vargas, no, but there wasn't me in there tonight, you know, and just don't know. I don't know.
I mean, you're not going to recover from this now, are you? From this position in the fight?
Yeah.
That first knockdown?
I don't know. Well, I never did, I? I don't know, I'm just disappointed, you know.
Well, you're a good fighter who can really come back, Paul. I mean, you've lost a title, but we know the quality of it. But I have to bring in Barney Eastwood here, because Barney didn't want you to take this fight, did you, Barney?
Well, it wasn't a matter of that. I thought it was a very difficult fight, and it turned out to be that.
It was mandatory, of course.
It was, yes. It was a fight that Paul said, I'm not going to be a Eubanks. He said, I want to know if I'm the best featherweight in the world. And he went ahead with the fight. He's not a guy to give his belt away without fighting for it. He'll come back. He's a good fighter. He hadn't the best night tonight. He was complaining that he felt that bit tired in the earlier rounds, and he just didn't get his second win. But he'll live to fight another day. And
he's a quality fighter. I mean, last word with Mrs. Hodkinson. I mean, do you want Paul to carry on now?
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
He'll be back.
Okay, what about a kiss just to cheer him up, because he's really down the
We're proud of you, Paul. Yeah, we're all proud of you.
Yes, bad luck, Paul. We look forward to seeing you come back.
Well, Gary Newbon getting all the ringside reaction, a lot of emotion there too as well, Barry. I mean, just looking at your face there, you're obviously feel desperately sad for what's happened.
I feel gutted for the kid. He's was definitely the best champion we had out there, and now, unfortunately, he's been beaten. But I can tell you, he was beaten by a superb fighter. That guy, I said earlier on, he had shades of Salvador Sanchez about him. He wasn't just a tough Mexican. He had class, he had quick hands, and he had incredible accuracy. And that showed in that round where he was able to catch Hodkinson right on the button and then not let him off the hook, because you don't see many guys being able to finish a fight like that, especially against a quality of fighter like Paul Hodkinson.
Of course, going into this round, as we heard there from Gary, some judge had him 3 rounds ahead, but
that's right.
it all just tumbled away, didn't it?
Once he tagged him there, Jim, he just never let him off the hook. And look at the way these punches are sinking in. They're coming from everywhere, right on the button, and he wasn't going to let him off the hook. And I mean, this guy Vargas is a special fighter. There's no doubt about that. And I'll tell you one thing: Kevin Kelly is going to have a hell of a job trying to beat this guy. Watch the way he finishes now. Watch how accurate the punches are.
It was very sudden. I would think a lot of people at home would have thought, well, he's doing okay, and then they might have popped out and come back in, and it's all over.
No, well, I think the corner done the right thing. They saved him because there's another day there. He can come back. There's 3 titles available: the WBO, the IBF, and the WBA. If he wants to get, if they have enough money to entice the Korean over, and if he gives himself a couple of months of a rest, gets himself back into shape, there's no reason why he can't win another variation of the title.
Again, Barry, just listening to him there, it was really sad. And all he was saying, it just wasn't me in there tonight. It just wasn't there tonight. He might have been unwell. You never know. But have you had nights like that where, for whatever reason, you just didn't have the snap about your work?
Of course I have, and we all have off nights, and there are nights when you're just not right on form. In fact, when I fought Sharm Shatuli, I wasn't as quick and fast as I could normally have been. But he'll come back. The kid's got lots of talent, and a bit of a rest, recharge the batteries, and get back in there.
He'll be desperately disappointed now, and he'll be very gratified when he watches the video and hear you say things like that. But there are 1 or 2 other world titles that he could go for, and of course there's Colin McMillan around the corner.
That's right.
And Stevie Robinson, the Welshman, who pulled off that
right.
great result against Davison. There are other avenues open to him.
For sure, and I mean, Tom Johnson, the Belfast camp don't figure on going for the WBO title, but there's Tom Johnson out there who's the IBF champion from Detroit. They could have enough money to entice him over if ITV get involved. But yes, there are other avenues for him, and just give himself a rest and come back, because he's a quality fighter.
We don't want to appear sort of smart Alex here, do we? But we did say right at the start of the programme, watch out for this guy. Yeah,
Varga looked a special opponent. I said that you couldn't really judge just how good he looked until we seen him. But after the first right hand that he threw, and he wobbled Hodkinson's knees with a quick right hand over the top, and I did say there were shades of Salvador Sanchez, and the way he boxed and was able to come forward and be controlled, and as Jim Watt rightly pointed out, he was controlled under the pressure.
Stylish as well, wasn't
he? Stylish and a super fighter.
Thanks, Barry, for the moment anyway. Well, coming up next, we have a World Cup action featuring England's next opponent.